Hello friends, this video on separation of substances part 14 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Fill in the blanks. The method of separating seeds of paddy from its stalks is called, so how do we separate seeds from stalks? That is done by threshing. That is beating the grains with the flail. So what happens is the seeds tend to get separated from their stalks. When milk cooled after boiling is poured on a piece of cloth, the cream is left behind on it. This process of separating cream from milk is an example of, now what are we actually doing? So we are putting the milk, passing the milk through a piece of cloth, and cloth acts as a filter because it has tiny pores. So the tiny pores in the cloth, it allows the milk to pass through it, but it doesn't allow the cream, and that's how the cream and the milk get separated. So this is definitely an example of filtration. Salt is obtained from seawater by the process of evaporation. So the water, sea water gets evaporated, so all that is left behind is the salt. Impurities settled at the bottom when muddy water was kept overnight in a bucket. Okay, why the impurities were settled at the bottom? Because the mud particles being heavier, they settle at the bottom. This is called sedimentation. The clear water was then poured off from the top. So the process of separation is known as sedimentation, decantation. So sedimentation is the first part where the impurities settle at the bottom, and the second part where the clear water is being poured off from the top, that part is called decantation. So the overall process is sedimentation and decantation. Question number 9, true or false? A mixture of milk and water can be separated by filtration. Now milk and water, both of them are liquids. Now in filtration, the filter paper will have tiny pores which allows the liquid to pass through it. Now since both of them are liquid, so both of them will be allowed to pass through the filter paper. So this is not a nice process. Now milk and water, they are soluble liquids. So when you mix them, they get completely mixed with each other. So how can we separate them? So for that we have different processes. So here in this lesson we have mostly talked about insoluble mixtures. So for the milk and water, another process is there which is called distillation. So you will learn about them in your higher classes. A mixture of powdered salt and sugar can be separated by the process of winnowing. Oh, again that is false, because powdered salt and powdered sugar, both of them, their particle sizes are same. Looking at their densities, heavy or light, both of them are the same. So it is not that salt is heavier than sugar or powdered sugar is heavier than powdered salt. So it is not a nice idea. Winnowing would not help. Separation of sugar from tea can be done with filtration. No, that's again false. So using filtration we can separate the tea leaves from tea, but not the sugar, because sugar is again dissolved in the tea. So even if you pass it through the filter, sugar will also get passed since it is dissolved in water. So the process that can be used here could be evaporation, because during evaporation the water will get evaporated and the sugar will be left over. Grain and husk can be separated with the process of decantation. That's again false, because when you look at grain and husk, decantation is mostly for soluble and insoluble particles. So if you take grain and husk, there are chances that grains would settle at the bottom and husks would remain at the top, but that would not be able to separate the two very effectively, because when you try to pour it into some other container, so it again might get mixed up. So the better process for these would be winnowing, because grains are heavier whereas husks are lighter. So winnowing would be the best process to separate them. Question number 10. Lemonade is prepared by mixing lemon juice and sugar in water. You wish to add ice to cool it. Should you add ice to the lemonade before or after dissolving sugar? In which case would it be possible to dissolve more sugar? Okay, so first of all, on what factors it depends that how much sugar will be able to get dissolved in the water. Now we have spoken about saturated solution, right? So water has some limit up to which it can dissolve sugar. However, we can change that limit by changing the temperature of the water. Right? Now, if we increase the temperature of water, then the saturation point also increases. That means more amount of solute can be dissolved. Similarly, if you decrease the temperature, less amount of solute can be dissolved. So, in this case also, if the temperature is increased, then more sugar will be dissolved in the water. If the temperature is decreased, then less sugar will be dissolved in water. So that's the basic concept that we have learned from saturated solution. So in this case, what will happen if we add ice to the lemonade? The temperature would decrease. So if we add ice before, so the temperature of the solution would decrease, therefore less sugar will be dissolved. Right? So, but we want to dissolve more sugar because we want more sugar to get dissolved. So that means we should not add ice before. We have to add ice later. So ice should be added after dissolving sugar. So once the sugar is already dissolved, then we can add ice. So more sugar can be dissolved in warm water than in cold water because at higher temperature, more sugar can be dissolved. So that's the simple logic which we have learned from saturated solution. So with this, we have reached towards the end of this lesson on separation of substances, and I hope that you are clear with the various separation processes. Try to perform some of them at your home. For example, sieving, filtration, evaporation. These are some processes which you can very easily perform at your home, and you can see, you can experience them yourself. So I hope this lesson would have helped you. So see you all in the next lesson. Thank you. Please visit www.examfear.com to watch more educational videos with a better experience. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for latest updates. Thank you once again.